Hum by His Holiness Shivaram Swami. It's part of his Krishna in Vrindavan series, Volume 2. And we are starting the third part 3 of this book called Prema Samputa, which translates as The Love Box. And the title is comes from a book by the same title by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And I'm going to dedicate the reading tonight to my dear friend, Krishna Priya Devidasi, who I found out today is in her last days with us in this world. And we'll be going back to join these pastimes very soon. So if you're listening, please say a prayer for her safe journey. Prata kadachit udurikta charurama Vesho hari priyatama bhavana pragane Gatvarunam shukatatena pidaya vaktram Nichina lochana yuga sahasavatashte. One morning, Sri Hari appeared in Radhika's courtyard, dressed as an enchanting, beautiful maiden. Standing at a distance from the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, Sri Krishna covered his face with a crimson veil, bashfully casting his eyes to the ground. That's the verse that this is based on. So this is chapter 1, Sri Krishna's questions. And we're starting with a little narrative by Shyamalata Saki. Navasaki, you are impatient to hear how the teachings I received were concluded? Patience, patience. You must acquire such virtue. The pastimes of Vrindavan will certainly test your patience to the limit. Just see how patiently our reader is sitting. Listen, I will tell you how in the 6th part of the day my tolerance yielded the juicy fruit of conclusive truth. As the sun coursed toward the western horizon, the time came for Radhika to prepare Manohar ladus. These are not ordinary sweets, Saki. They are the substance of her heart's affection in the form of hundreds of ladus served on golden trays. After being carried to Nandagram by a manjari and placed in the hands of Mother Yashoda, they would become the talk of the supper. Govinda and his friends blissfully relished their meal. Meanwhile, many gopis throughout Vraj waited. We waited. Love-struck for his association, we waited for a message that would assign the time and place of our meeting. What could we do? What could I do? My life is Sri Krishna's service. I live, breathe, exist for him alone. I waited. Neela was to return from Nandagram with Hari's message, but she had not come. Had he forgotten me? Had he favored another? Where was Neela? There, a knock on the door. It was not Neela. Like a fawn leaving her lair for the first time, a timid beauty, hands folded, silently entered. It was a manjari of Sri Tulsi. No, dear, she was not the servant of the Tulsi who is also known as Rati. She was the servant of the Tulsi who serves Ranga Manjari. That's right. Sri Tulsi's Dasi said, Saki Shyamalata, I have a message from Sri Radhika. May I come in? When Apsaras shower gold, can anyone resist? When Radha's maidservant comes with a message, can I hesitate? Navasaki, I ushered this golden doll into my chambers and sat her by my side. Stroking her adorable face, I said, Saki, what message have you brought from Sri Radhika? With a sweet smile, she replied, O beloved of Sri Krishna, O dearest friend of Radha, Sri Radhika, who has finished cooking Govinda's sweets and like you eagerly awaits his message, sent me with this letter. I took the note from her hand. Radhika's handwriting was like a string of pearls. I was so enchanted by her script that it took some time before I could read her words. When I did, this is what I read. Shyamalate, pranams. May your every desire be fulfilled. Dear friend, I know you doubt the fidelity of Sri Krishna's love for me. I also know you wonder if I truly know his heart. Saki, to answer your questions, I have sent this girl. She has been empowered by my rupa. Listen, she will reveal an incident that took place at my home not long ago. In the future, she will also write a book upon this theme. Saki, by this story I will open my prema samputa before you. Because you love me with your heart, I will share my heart with you. Dear Shamalate, by the time we meet, I am sure your every question will have been answered. Until then, I remain your most loving Saki, Radha. This is very interesting because I was saying how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he wrote a book called Prema Samputa, and he's saying here that this girl who has come as a messenger said that she will reveal an incident that happened in Srimati Radharani's home not long ago, and in the future she'll also write a book about this. So this girl is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Manjari form. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I wiped them away with a laugh. How wonderful was Sri Radha! I embraced her messenger of love and held her as if she were Radhika. Then I said, Saki, tell me everything Sri Radha wants me to hear, and do not omit a single word. I accept you as her heart's envoy. Be true to my desire and quench the thirst of my mind. Tell me of Radhika's love box. Folding her hands and looking around shyly, she said. So now we get into the... One morning, Sri Hari appeared in Radhika's courtyard, dressed as an enchantingly beautiful maiden. Standing at a distance from the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, Sri Krishna covered his face with a crimson veil, bashfully casting his eyes to the ground. Govinda appeared like a puppet of musk, and his movements flowed like honey. His matchless limbs were adorned with jeweled ornaments and celestial diamonds. As he coyly marked the ground with his toes, his hips swiveled from side to side, his ankle bells and waist bells tinkled delightfully. Hearing those bells, all living creatures, moving and non-moving, were mystified. The garden flowers, the climbing creepers, the ancient tree, and even the leaves turned toward Hari in amazement. As residents in Sri Radhika's home, they were no strangers to beauty, but they had never heard of or seen such sapphire-tinted elegance. Sri Radha's pet parrots, Sukshmadi and Shubha, who were perched in the tree for her darshan, toppled over in ecstasy when they saw Sri Krishna in this female disguise. They hung upside down to feast on his beauty. The parrots nearly passed out. When Gandharvika, whose own form is a transcendental fountain of youthful beauty, beheld this striking damsel, she was momentarily stunned. Regaining her composure, she held Lalita's soft hand and said, Lalite, look, look! Who is that beautiful maiden, whose delightful face is like a blossoming blue lotus? Her dress and ornaments are second only to her natural endowments. Just see how her mysterious complexion illumines my courtyard with its sapphire luster. Fair-faced Lalita was dressed in peacock-colored garments, her glowing complexion like Gorochana. She was wary of this enchanting stranger. Taking Vishaka's hand, Lalita came before the disguised Krishna and said, O slender-waisted one, who are you? Where have you come from? For what purpose have you come here? Please be kind and satisfy our curiosity, as well as that of our Saki. Krishna, in the guise of a bewitching maiden, gazed at the hem of Vishaka's star-bedecked skirt, but remained silent. The two gopis looked at each other apprehensively. Enthralled by this silent beauty, Radhika approached her friends in a thoughtful mood. Moving like a timid doe, she spoke in the sweetest possible voice. Sundari, who are you? The cloud-blue luster of your limbs has enchanted my mind. I have concluded that you must be a goddess. How else could such exquisite beauty be found walking upon the earth? Sri Krishna shifted his gaze to Radhika's lotus feet, but still said nothing. Intrigued by their new friend, the Sakis exchanged glances of bewilderment. Who was this uninvited guest? Why was she so resolute in her vow of silence? The leaves turned to the flowers, anticipating an answer, but the flowers remained fixed in trance, engrossed in the scene below. Swallowing before she spoke, Radhika asked, O grave one, if my house is truly your destination, please satisfy our curiosity and introduce yourself. O girl with downcast eyes, know us to be your intimate friends. Why should you be shy in our company?" Although put at ease by Sri Radha's kind words and reassured by the Sakhi's caring smiles, Sri Krishna, who was in the guise of a young girl, only breathed a deep sigh of sorrow. The gopis raised their eyebrows and looked at one another in astonishment. Then Govinda again drew his veil and artfully turned away from Gauri. Had the Acharya of drama, Bharat Muni, been present, he would have extolled Sri Krishna's perfectly timed performance and his unsurpassed feminine gestures. Sri Radhika was pained to see her guest so afflicted. Revealing her heart's affections, she said, "O beautiful girl, I can understand that due to some heartache, you have been reduced to a distressful condition. O lotus-faced one, trust me completely. You can tell me of your heartache. We shall certainly remove your suffering. Only by revealing one's mind to one's intimate friends can one extinguish the pain consuming a delicate heart." Radhika's maidservant saw her newly arrived guest. Excited at beholding this mysterious beauty, they brought an asan for their mistress and an embroidered cushion for Sri Krishna. Although Govinda remained silent, he gracefully accepted a sitting place among the gopis. Seeing his fluid movements and mysterious bearing, Radhika's curiosity to discover his identity increased tenfold. "Are you now separated from your lover?" she inquired. "Are you disappointed to see faults in him? Or are you afraid because you offended him in some way? Perhaps your enemies gossiped about you. Did they reveal your private love and break your innocent heart?" Exchanging glances with Lalita, Radhika continued, "Perhaps your husband is not so great, and as a result you are disinclined to him. Yes, that must be it. Disappointed by your husband, you became attracted to some other rare man. For this indiscretion, are you, like me, abused by your superiors with harsh words? That must be why you're so sad." Radhika continued to inquire from her unresponsive guest. What was the cause of her misery? As Sri Radha spoke, Govinda relished every word like a symphony of nectar. Within his heart he repeatedly praised his covering potency for allowing him to remain undiscovered in the astute presence of Lalita and Radha. Through Sri Krishna's dress, Radhika could see the outline of his slender limbs. She said, "O slender one, did your co-wife become intoxicated by some minute good fortune? Blinded by false pride, did she pierce your heart with the arrows of harsh words?" Pausing for a moment, Radha answered her own question. "No, that is not possible. Your beauty excludes any possibility of having a co-wife. And even if you were to share your husband with another, what co-wife would be able to contend with you?" Sri Radhika's heart thrilled in the presence of this silent damsel. With a mischievous smile, she said, "Come now, moon-faced one. From our Guru Purnamasi we have heard the story of the Mohini incarnation. She enchanted the most sober Lord Shiva with her exquisite beauty. Are you that same Mohini? Tell me." "When Lord Shiva was bewildered by your charms, did you remain indifferent to him and slip through his grasp? O enchanting one, if you happened to meet Sri Hari, I am sure by your mutual exchange of glances, even your heart would be enchanted." The gopis giggled softly, enjoying the prospect of seeing this ravishing beauty being attracted to their own Prananath. "I would be very amused to see you enchant each other." When Radharani's witty words entered the depths of his heart, Sri Krishna embraced her in the form of transcendental sound. Relishing the internal and external meeting with his beloved, goosebumps erupted upon Govinda's skin and his bodily hair stood on end. As he tried to conceal his ecstatic condition by covering his arms and shoulders with his veil, Hari appeared to be a blackish moth entering a cocoon. Misreading his symptoms and intentions, Sri Radha asked with concern, "O Sakhi, are you suffering from some malady? Do you have a pain in your chest, back, or head?" Turning to Vishaka, Radha pointed to the house and said, "Vishake, quickly, bring the medicinal oil that was sent by my adoring father. That oil is the liquid form of his affection and cures all kinds of diseases. I shall gently rub the head and body of this beautiful girl with my own hands. Then her pains and ailments will be relieved." Vishaka stood to serve Sri Radhika, who continued, "After the oil massage, I shall bathe her from head to toe in fragrant, lukewarm water. That will revive her cheerful countenance and inspire her to speak to us." While Vishaka entered the house, Gaurangi paused to observe her most remarkable guest. Here was, by all appearances, a celestial nymph in her courtyard, who, after having been addressed with the sweetest of words, offered a massage by her own hands, and is showered with friendly affection, remained true to her vow of silence. Vishaka returned holding a golden pitcher that glowed with King Vrishabhanu's paternal affection. Radhika raised her bud-like hand and said, "Now I understand that this Devi is actually a pretender. She sits here looking sullen, but declines to accept my remedies. In truth, she is not experiencing any pain at all." Smiling, Radhika said, "Anyway, I shall relieve the pain in her heart and make her happy once again. As the divine medicine of Lord Dhanvantari cures all ailments, I have a treatment to alleviate the heartbreak of our esteemed guest." Raising an inquisitive eyebrow, Lalita asked, "Radhike, what is this infallible elixir you plan to administer to this beautiful young princess?" Tilting her lovely head and glancing playfully at her friends, Radha spoke in an exaggerated whisper. "If I can apply the therapy of Sri Krishna's lotus palms to this demure girl's heart, she will immediately laugh, speak, and shriek in ecstasy. What more can I say? We shall all laugh to see the mist of her melancholy dissipate under the blazing Krishna sun. In this way our friend will glow with the splendor of a radiant heart, free of pain and misery." Hearing Sri Radhika's nectarian speech, an uncontrollable smile appeared on Sri Krishna's camphor-scented lips. With the delicate fingers of his left hand, he swept the curly locks of hair from his forehead and adjusted the veil covering his head. Slowly lifting his bowed head, he gazed bashfully at Lalita, Vishaka, and finally Sri Radhika. The parrots, leaves, flowers, and gopis marveled at Sri Krishna's luxurious movements. As he prepared to speak, they looked towards him with anticipation, thrilled at the first sign of a response. Sri Krishna spoke deliberately in a carefully imitated voice, full of pleasant words and sweet intonations. Sri Radhika and her Sakhis, like the chakora bird that gratifies itself with the cooling rays of the moon, eagerly drank the shower of nectar that fell from his lips. Not only was his speech pleasing, but it filled the gopis' hearts with the same rapture they experienced by hearing their beloved Hari. Upon hearing Sri Krishna's maiden-like voice, the parrots lost consciousness, appearing like toy birds suspended from a branch. Some time later they would regain external awareness and would hear about Radha and Krishna's conversation from the bees. Sri Krishna said, "O fair-faced girl, I am a goddess, and I live in heaven. I have come to you because there is one matter that causes me great sorrow. Other than you, I know of no one who can help me." Looking to her friends and then back to the disguised Govinda, Sri Radhika said, "O beautiful girl, can there be any doubt that you are a goddess? Of humans who walk the earth, none has beauty or enchanting luster comparable to yours. A divine being like you can only be compared to herself." To confirm her statement, a gentle breeze wafted the scent of Hari's perfumed limbs to Sri Radha. Gandharvika plunged into that intoxicating fragrance, and for a moment all her senses took on the sense of smell. Emerging from the unique experience of his bodily aroma, Radha shook her head slightly. Batting her eyelashes, she folded her hands before the goddess in pranams. Happy that this beautiful Devi was finally speaking, Radhika apologized for interrogating her guest. "O girl whose face is like a lotus in autumn, I asked whether you were separated from your husband. Please do not take offense at my audacity. I was not teasing you. I only sincerely desired to understand your troubled heart. Since you have now become affectionate towards me, consider me yours." Devi Krishna desired to enter the most intimate province of Sri Radha's heart. To achieve that goal, all obstacles were to be removed. He smiled and opened his right palm in a gesture of goodwill. He put her at ease, saying, "My dear Radhe, why do you doubt my friendship? Although I am a goddess, I have become yours, and desire only to be your maidservant." Radhika, if you are wondering why a celestial would desire to serve a cowherd's wife, my answer is that having bathed in the beauty of your form, having purified my heart by meditating on your qualities, and having tasted a drop of your love, no other desire than your service remains in my heart. Gauri glanced to the ground. With her cloud-blue veil, she covered her blushing face. How wonderful was the soothing effect of this Devi's words. It was as if Hari was speaking. Rama continued, Radhe, listen to what I have to say. I have come to your doorstep with a chronic heartache. Your words are certainly a shower of nectar for my ears, but they have not given the slightest relief to my afflicted heart. Sri Radha and her Sakhis exchanged quizzical glances. What anguish could pain the heart of this heavenly maiden? How could one who drank the nectar of immortality suffer? By what means could a gopi relieve the anxiety of a celestial? Radhika listened eagerly, her mind attentive and curious to understand such apparent contradictions. His face now sober and serene, Devi Rupi Krishna said, O Sakhi, the vibration of Sri Krishna's flute is well known to all of you here in Vrindavan. Day and night, Vamsidari delights the cows, sakhas, elders, and gopis by his original melodies. However, this sound is not confined to Braj. It enters our heavenly abode and wreaks havoc among the chaste ladies of Swarga. The song of this mischievous flute is like a mixture of nectar and poison. The long, drawn-out notes from the Murali cause a happiness that can only be compared to pouring nectar over one's head. But simultaneously it awakens a pain of separation that defeats the poisonous effects of a snake bite. As if lodging a complaint, Sri Krishna continued, When the sweet nectar of that flute enters their ears, the Devis feel a limitless, ever-increasing ecstasy. In such a state, the women of heaven dread even the thought of their husbands. As they float upon the ocean of happiness, the poisonous effect of that flute song awakens an insatiable desire to embrace Sri Krishna. This love fever of separation increases the temperature of the Devis' bodies to the point that their husbands are scorched by their touch. They cry out, Alas, alas, what has happened to you? And immediately release them. Radha and her friends giggled at the thought of this amusing scene. They never failed to be amazed at the novel ways by which Krishna's naughty flute succeeded in disturbing others' minds. Remembering the time she had stolen the Venu from Govinda, Radhika thought, I should have thrown that flute into the Yamuna when I had the chance. That would have benefited the 3 worlds. O Sakhi, according to the arrangement of providence, in heaven everyone is youthful. There are no elderly devas or devis. As a consequence, the flute song affects everyone equally, and there is no one to chastise or correct us. Under such hopeless conditions, the vows of all the goddesses have merged in the water of the celestial Ganges. Sri Krishna leaned forward, and the gopis responded by leaning towards him. It was amazing how this Devi's presence caused the same current of feelings as Hari's. He continued, Every day I heard this sound, and every day I witnessed its influence upon the Devis. My mind filled with wonder, and I thought to myself, what kind of sound is this? Where does it come from? And above all, who created it? Then, Govinda continued, one day I followed the strains of the flute song through Swarga, Antariksha, and finally to the earth. I took up residence, unseen by anyone, at Vamshivat, my heart filled with delight watching your incomparable pastimes with Hari, and so I have become acquainted with you and your dearest friends. Saying this, Sri Krishna bowed his head to Lalita and Vishaka. Their lotus mouths slightly open with wonder, they offered their pranams in return. Radha smiled sweetly and cheerfully said, O most fortunate one, among the goddesses of Swarga, you must be the most intelligent. Whereas the sword of their eagerness tortures the highly cultured ladies of heaven, you alone possess the good sense to follow your aching heart to Vrindavan. Among the Devis, only you have been blessed. Hearing Radhika's clever words, Sri Krishna colored his lips with a sweet smile, and slightly knitting his eyebrows, said, O Radhe, do not presume that all the wives share your inclination for Sri Krishna's affections. Surveying the courtyard like a frightened doe, he added, Sakhi, I have but one request of you. While I am here, please protect me from the eyes of any man. I have come to you, and you alone. Radha looked to her friends with a knowing smile. Priye, if you have come here to observe Sri Krishna from a secluded place, and if you have no designs on his company, then why be concerned whether he sees you or not? Looking into Devi Krishna's face, she purposefully said, Perhaps you do have some plan for the marauding king of the Kunjas. Are you trying to deceive me?" The gopis giggled as Radha clapped her hands and said, "Never mind, I was only joking, because I consider you my girlfriend. Do not be displeased with me. Just tell me whatever you wish to know." Krishna countered Radha's humor with a garland of most alluring words. "Saki, you may joke as you like. After all, who can defeat you in the art of humorous wordplay? O Radhe, although you are human, your incomparable qualities, of which joking is but one, are such that all the Devis purify themselves by singing your glories and bowing their heads before you. Whatever you may say, you remain as dear to me as life itself." At such praise, Radhika lowered her head in shame, but Hari continued in his cuckoo sweet voice. "O Saki, do not feel embarrassed. My praise is neither excessive from exaggeration nor a mockery from poor taste. I can never speak a falsehood. When I say that Lakshmi and Parvati pale in the wake of your golden beauty and auspicious virtues, I speak the truth." Sri Krishna tasted the glorification of Sri Radha with great happiness. Lalita and Vishaka were very pleased to hear him. Whatever reservations they had harbored about this goddess were washed away by the following words. I have more things to say. Please hear me, O lotus-faced one. Beyond the three worlds glide countless Vaikuntha planets, inhabited by innumerable fair-faced maidens, but not one of them thinks she possesses even a fraction of your prema. You remain the unchallenged goddess of love. In Parvati's assembly on Mount Kailash, I came to know this truth. Since then, my mind has been overtaken by the insatiable desire to see you. Lowering his head in sorrow, Sri Krishna concluded, Now that I have seen you, my desire is fulfilled. Yet my heartache persists without relief. My hard heart should have broken long ago, but I continue to labor with my sadness. Hearing of the extreme pain of the goddess, soft-hearted Radhika replied, Saki, why does your heart ache? Please tell me at once. But Krishna, his throat choked with sorrow, could not reply. As tears glided down his polished sapphire cheeks, Gaurangi wiped them away with the soft hem of her veil. Some time passed before Sri Krishna could speak, stunned as he was from the thought of Sri Radha's selfless love. His lovely head hung down as he folded his hands in his lap. Composing himself with great difficulty, he began once again. How have you fallen in love with this unreliable boy, Krishna? From amongst the innumerable kind-hearted men who would wait at your feet, why did you choose him? Without a doubt, your causeless love is beyond compare. Its power can surmount any obstacle. But Saki, why have you chosen such an untrustworthy object for your affections? You have invited unlimited misery upon your head for all time. Without waiting for a reply, Krishna continued, Hari is blessed with unlimited qualities like beauty, heroism, opulence, and fame. But he possesses one fault by which all these exalted characteristics are spoiled. In matters of love, he is inconsiderate of others' feelings. He is both whimsical and unfaithful. He is not fit to be taken shelter of. Radhika was taken aback by this verbal assault upon her beloved. Her eyes opened wide, and she leant back slightly, shocked by Sri Krishna's words. In contrast, Lalita Devi, who was critical of Govinda's dealings and protective of her Saki, was happy to hear them. While hiding at Vamshivat, my heart broke to see how Gopal showed such false love for you. In a nicely decorated kunja, invisible from the prying eyes of the moon, he showed you so much loving affection by his submissive dealings and sublime service. Then he abruptly went off to some other gopi, leaving you to cry a river of tears. I could not believe my eyes. Hearing you lament, your Sakis, the birds, creepers, and flowers all joined you in unison. Seeing you cry, their tears mixed with yours. O gullible girl, that night I thought the banks of the Yamuna would overflow from your combined sorrow. Radhika moved her lips to speak, but the goddess disguised Krishna continued. Upon the auspicious night of the Sharadiya Rasa, Sri Krishna left all the gopis to show you his special favor. Then once again, after tiring of that diversion, he suddenly deserted you without warning. I was shocked. As I moved through the dense foliage of Vrindavan, watching your pastimes, I was dismayed at your loud lamentation and faint of misery. As long as I live, through the 8 stages of life, that scene will remain indelibly etched upon my heart. Once again, Radha desired to speak, but the now animated Devi raised her delicate hand in protest. O famous girl, Yashashvini, I am a goddess. Pain and suffering never find a place in my heart. I came to this world for the happiness of meeting you, but the lance of sympathy for your plight unexpectedly pierced me. I doubt whether I can ever extract that lance from my heart. Listen, Radhe, I have become so attached to you that I can never consider returning to heaven. But having seen your distress, my stay on earth only adds to my misery. In this way my mind reels with every moment. I cannot recover my composure. Glancing pitifully at Radhika's face, Sri Krishna appealed. For this reason, after many days, I have come to reveal my heart. I have become afraid of Krishna. If I may speak freely, it appears to me that he is devoid of piety and shame. Did he ever traverse the path of compassion? How can one who killed a woman, Putana, in his childhood, a calf, Vatsasura, in his boyhood, and a bull, Arishtasura, in his youth, be considered trustworthy in any way? Sri Krishna thus concluded his self-condemnation. In the guise of a Devi, he could now witness the depth of Sri Radhika's love. If after so many arguments and so much criticism, her prem continued without waning, Radha would be forever glorified within this world and beyond. To defend her love and the character of her lover, Radhika would have to present an astounding array of nectarian arguments to reveal the inner recesses of her heart. Sri Krishna anticipated the cooling effect, delightful fragrance, and unmatched sweetness of Sri Radha's words. Gandharvika, who controls Sri Krishna by her bodily aroma, replied, O beautiful girl, you appear to have the same indescribable potency as Sri Krishna. Although you criticize him, my mind remains attached to you. It is the same with him. Although Govinda causes me so much pain, I can never remain indifferent to him. Although I have repeatedly attempted to end our love, whenever he appears upon the path of my eyes, my determination vanishes and my heart succumbs. How is it that you affect me in the same way? I cannot even guess. Listen, Sakhi, if you become my dearmost friend, if you promise never to return to heaven, if you always remain with me in Vraj, I will open the box of my love and show you its excellent jewels. By the light of those jewels, the darkness of your doubts will be dispelled. Now here's Shamalata going to conclude this chapter. Navasaki, hearing from Radhika's messenger, was like a shower of nectar. Her every word was an abhishek of bliss. Even in Vraj, where the goddess of learning serves the street sweepers, I have rarely heard such poetic eloquence. In this story, my doubts about Sri Krishna's love were spoken through his own lips. How wonderful! My Lord was now himself speaking what I feared to openly ask. What did you say? Yes, that is it exactly. You have understood his intent. Hari was deprecating his love as the gopis had done on the Sharad Purnim. Rather than defend himself, he now let Radha extol his love, as only she could do. By that Sankirtan, her banner of love would fly unchallenged and supreme. I could hardly wait to hear how Sri Radha answered his questions. Oh, that trickster Sri Krishna, that most gifted actor, dressed as he was in the stunning garb of a celestial damsel, who could not love him? So stay tuned tomorrow. We're going to hear how Srimati Radharani answers the challenges and glorifies the love of Krishna. Thank you for listening in. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.